So in this video, we will look at how to solve a system made up of equations that are not linear. So, if we are going to solve a system like this, we have two options. We could solve by using substitution or elimination. So let's look at example 1, and let's try solving this using substitution. So to solve it as substitution, let me go ahead and label these as equation 1 and equation 2. So in equation 2, let's go ahead and solve for one of the variables. It doesn't matter which, let's solve for y. So y, well, let's do this, xy equals -4. If we divide both sides by x to get y by itself, we get y equals -4 over x. Now, we'll substitute this into equation 1. So x squared plus y squared equals 8 becomes x squared plus -4 over x squared, because that's y, and that should equal 8. Now, that gives us x squared plus 16 over x squared equals 8. Now, let's go ahead, and to solve this, we can multiply both sides of our equation by x squared, and that will go ahead and cancel all the denominators that would be present. So we would have x to the 4th, because x squared times x squared. Then 16 over x squared, the x squareds would cancel, equals 8x squared. Now we can solve this, because it's a quadratic form, by getting one side equal to 0. This factors as x squared minus 4 times x squared minus 4, which would be x squared minus 4 equals 0. This would mean that x squared minus 4 equals 0. So x squared would equal 4. Take the square root of both sides, but when we do that, we must do plus or minus. So x equals plus or minus root 4. So x equals plus or minus 2. Now, if x equals 2, what's that mean about y? So if x is 2, y would equal -4 over 2, which would mean that y equals -2. Or if we go back and we say, what happens if x equals -2? Then y would equal -4 over -2, which would be +2. So our two solutions would be 2 comma -2 and -2 comma 2. Let's look at another system. Again, I'll call this equation 1 and this equation 2. So if we solve for y in equation 2, we get y equals x plus 2. Now let's substitute that into 1. So this would give us x squared minus the square of the quantity x plus 2, because that's getting substituted in for that y value, and that's supposed to equal 12. So x squared minus, now to square x plus 2, we can take that times itself, and that would be x squared plus 4x plus 4. So that's just from FOIL, x plus 2 times x plus 2. Make sure it's in parentheses, because now we're going to distribute the negative. So x squared minus x squared minus 4x minus 4 would equal 0. That gives us -4x minus 4 equals 0. So that means negative 4x would equal 4. So x would equal negative 1. But we know that we can back substitute. And we know y equals x plus 2. So y would equal negative 1 plus 2. So y would equal 1. So our solution is negative 1, comma 1. Notice our answer is in alphabetical order, x, comma y. We can also use elimination to solve systems. Oftentimes you'll see substitution is kind of like your default method, but sometimes elimination can go a little bit more quickly. So if you notice in this system, we have y squareds that we can multiply this second equation and get an equal but opposite coefficient. So let's take a look. We have x squared plus 4y squared equals 1, and our second equation is 2x minus 2y squared equals 2. Let's multiply this second equation by positive 2. If we do that, our first equation remains the same. Our second equation becomes 4x minus 4y squared equals 4. Now if we add these two equations, we have x squared plus 4x, and the y squareds add out, and the right-hand side is just 5. So notice there are no more y's. So we have x squared plus 4x equals 5. This is quadratic, so we'll get one side equal to 0. And now that factors. If it didn't factor, you could use the quadratic formula. So x equals negative 5, or x equals 1. So let's back substitute. You can use either equation to back substitute. So if we use 2x minus 2y squared equals 2, and we substitute negative 5 in, we get negative 10 minus 2y squared equals 2, which would mean negative 2y squared equals 12. So y squared equals negative 6. So if y squared equals negative 6, that would mean that y would have to be positive or negative square root of negative 6. So this is not real. So there's no solution for that. Now let's look at the other option. 2x minus 2y squared equals 2. Let's let x equal 1. 2 times 1 minus 2y squared equals 2 would be 2 minus 2y squared equals 2. Subtract 2 from both sides. Divide by negative 2. And so y would equal 0. Notice we don't have to worry about the plus or minus there because plus or minus 0 is just 0. So our only solution is 1, comma 0.